only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. They are everywhere in the world. So if you can get to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez, fill out some questions, and they will place you with a licensed professional, master's level or PhD level therapist that can help you. So there is that. Thank you. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, so as you may notice, the background is a little different. So John and I are doing our first attempt at snowbirding. So we're going to see how it goes this summer traveling with, okay, I'm going to switch it around. Woo, where are the puppies? Can we see the puppies? There's the puppies. So there's Lucky and there's Moana. So we're traveling with the puppies. So that is very exciting, very nerve-wracking. They're actually really good travelers. I've been very, very fortunate and lucky with these dogs, literally. So anyway, that is that. We're up in Boise right now visiting the kids, and then we are going to head over to Portland for the meet and greet. So there are still tickets available. Andy, please leave that in. There are still tickets available on chrisgodinez.com. So go to chrisgodinez.com and get your tickets for the Portland meet and greet, which will be Sunday, July 2nd, between 2 and 4. The location will be given to you once your ticket is purchased. So there is that. Hello, everybody. So current event for today. All I can say is WTF Russia. Seriously, what is going on? John and I, so last night when we got into the hotel, John and I turned on the news, and John's like, oh, there's a coup. And I'm like, oh, this could be bad or good. I don't know. But all I can say is, oh, hi guys. Why are you all trying to come into the camera view? Hello. Hi. My co-host, Lucky. My other co-host, Moana. Anyway, so John and I were both like, John's just sitting there laughing. John and I were both like, what is going on? Because we started talking about it. So the Wagner Group is a mercenary group. They're paid mercenaries, meaning somebody pays them to do what they do. So for them to turn on Putin is kind of like, well, who's paying them? What's going on? And then to do like a failed coup, kind of go in, but not really go in. So I'm not quite sure I understand what exactly that is all about. And then they said, oh, well, we've brokered a peace deal and the guy is going to Belarus to live. So to this point, what has happened in Russia is anyone who has opposed Putin, anyone, political rivals, generals, diplomats, whatever, anybody who said anything bad about Putin, this guy had said a lot of bad things about Putin, called him like granddaddy and, basically saying he was old and frail and didn't know what he was doing. He left out crazy, but yeah. But anyway, so everyone who has opposed him has ended up dead. And it's always been by suicide. And I put that in bunny ears because it's like, oh, had 6 stab wounds, 23 bullet holes, fell out of hermetically sealed window. Was suicide. That's seriously, that's what's been happening. So I'm kind of like, how is this guy still alive? B, what is the deal with sending him to Belarus? C, even if it was staged, what does that serve for Putin? Because all it does is make him look bad and weak. I don't like Putin. I think he's a megalomaniac. I think he's insane. That's just my personal opinion. That is not a diagnosis. Professional opinion? Yeah. Anyway, so there is that. So that is my current event for the day, because I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It's like, none of this makes sense, and it stinks to high hell, because it's like an attempted coup that didn't go all the way through. Most people don't start a coup unless they are assured of winning it. What does that sound like, right? So they usually don't start something unless they're assured of winning it. And then for it to be backed off, and now this guy is living in Belarus when everyone else who's ever done anything even remotely, not even to the extent that he did verbally about Putin, was killed. I'm just, something's off. Something is way, way, way off. And I'm suspicious because Putin has been rattling his saber at the Ukraine, rattling his saber at the United States, going, oh, you guys are sending drones. And I'm like, your own guys are like turning against you. So anyway, that is my WTF current event for the day. Anyway, I just, yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. John and I were like, well, what's going to happen? And, you know, nothing yet. So anyway, there's that. Okay, it stinks. Something's, we're not getting the whole story. I don't know what's going on, but it stinks. So anyway, there's that. Okay, so today we are talking about dependent personality disorder. Hold on a second, I want to get to my other phone where I had loaded. Okay, so the question was, why are some people incredibly dependent, you know, beyond codependency? So like, just, you know, can't make a decision, have to ask everybody's opinion, doubts themselves to the core, needs to be with somebody all the time. So like, they get out of a relationship, boom, they immediately get into another relationship. So dependent personality disorder, and this is from the Mayo Clinic, excessive dependence on others and feeling the need to be taken care of, submissive or clingy behaviors towards others, fear of having to provide self-care or fend for yourself if left alone, lack of self-confidence, requiring excessive advice and reassurance from others to make even small decisions, difficulty starting or doing projects on your own due to lack of self-confidence, difficulty disagreeing with others and fearing disapproval, tolerance of poor or abusive treatment even when other options are available, an urgent need to start a new relationship when a close one has ended. So yeah, I think we're going to have to move. It looks like we're going to have a little league team in here pretty soon. We got some time. Okay. So anyway, so that's what dependent personality disorder is. So what causes it? So I know a lot of survivors of abuse have got that codependency and that dependent, you know, clingy, needing, don't want to be alone. So basically what causes that is in childhood, trauma in childhood. So usually when you have an abusive parent, or you have a parent that absolutely refuses to allow you to make decisions. So like, they take over everything. Remember how we talked about how narcissistic parents take over every decision? Child is never allowed to make a decision, never allowed to make their own choice, or if they do, they get made wrong, they get put down, they get told they're bad and wrong and stupid and this, that, and the other thing. So it boils down to the person that has dependent personality disorder usually ends up being codependent. They usually come from some history of, hello, bee on my phone. Oh, please don't move down to my finger. I am moving my hand now. Oh, there we go. Okay, go away, bee. No, it likes my phone. I love working in nature. Anyway, so, what was I saying? Personality disorder. Oh, so it usually comes from having been in an abusive situation where you're either not allowed to make decisions, or the decisions that you made were made fun of. So you're afraid of making a decision because if you make the wrong one, what if? So it's in with the anxiety disorders. It's really in with the anxiety disorders. So it is born of a fear. Please go away, bee. Stop landing on my phone. It is born of a fear of making the wrong decision. It is born of the fear of, I'm gonna turn this over because the bee is now on the other side. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, go. Okay, go away, bee. Okay, so it is born. It is born of a fear of making the wrong decision. It is born of the fear of being made wrong, perfectionism, etc., etc., etc. So it's also connected directly to self-esteem, and the bee is back. Okay, and it's gone now. I love nature. Actually, I do. I just don't like bees. I do like bees. I just don't like bees being stinging. So anyway, it's born of the fear of making the wrong choice. And so dependent people are incredibly clingy. They have this basic assumption that they cannot, not that they, you know, won't so much, but that they literally cannot take care of themselves. Like, I can't do it. Now, I know the question that's coming is that, oh my gosh, my elderly narcissist does that. Okay, yes, narcissists do play the victim. Narcissists do play the, oh, I'm helpless. You have to do it for me. You have to think for me. You have to do everything for me. The motivation is different. When a narcissist does something like that, it's a power and control issue. When somebody who's dependent personality disorder does that, it's because they truly believe that they cannot do the right thing. Like, they're incompetent. That's literally their basic assumption, is that they cannot do anything right. They're incompetent, and they're making the wrong choice. So then they ask everybody around them, well, what do you think about this? And should I do this? And what do you think about that? So they come off as very clingy. They come off as very not knowing what they're doing, constantly needing reassurance. Some of these traits are in with narcissism, but it's different in that the motivation is different. So we've got all of these things going on. We've got this fear of making the wrong choice. We've got perhaps a history of abuse in our past. We've got this perfectionism. Oh my gosh, I've got to make the right choice. It's got to be the right thing. And I got to make sure it's the right choice. So I'm going to ask everybody and their dog what they think and what I should do and this, that, and the other thing. And we've got this, oh my God, I can't be alone. I can't be alone. I can't be alone. I've got to have a partner. I've got to have it. Well, so let's talk about why a lot of people that come out of abuse do that. It is self-esteem. Okay. So people who love themselves, let me say this again, people who love themselves actually enjoy their own company. Seriously, they don't need a relationship. Want a relationship? Sure. Need a relationship? No. So people that are struggling with self-esteem generally are the ones that are like, I've got to have a girlfriend. I've got to have a boyfriend. I've got to be in a relationship. Are you sure you want him chewing on that stick, John? Okay. So, I've got to be in a relationship. I've got to be, that type of thing. So, maybe we should go get him a chew toy, because I don't know if that's good for dogs. So they're afraid of being alone. They don't like what they think. They need the distraction of what's going on up here. And generally, when we've been raised by abusive parents, our internal dialogue is nasty. I mean, it is nasty. It's not nice. The internal critic is like on steroids and just vicious and cruel and mean. And so a lot of people look for an external validation in order to make themselves feel better, and a distraction so that they're not having to deal with all the shame that gets shoved into our space. And that goes for people that are dependent. People who are dependent often have a lot of shame, and they have a lot of fear and a lot of distrust and a lot of, do you see where I'm going with that? So it's really, Madam, what are you doing? It's really a matter of working on your self-esteem. Work on your self-esteem for so many reasons. So dependent personality disordered people have a hard time believing that they can make the right decision and that they are competent and that they know what they're doing. So when you work on your self-esteem, confidence is one of the things to work on. Certainty. Judge not yourself. That's the other thing, is that we are so mean to ourselves. Be certain that you know what you're doing, and mirror work is going to play into this. So when we are dependent, when we are constantly asking other people's opinion and constantly second guessing ourselves and not able to be alone, that is the time to be alone, and that is the time to work on your self-esteem and to do the mirror work. The Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi is perfect. Mirror work. When you're doing the mirror work, what you're going to do is you're going to be, hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? You do know what you're doing. It's okay for you to make decisions, right or wrong. How do we learn? Sometimes we learn by making mistakes. Mistakes can be corrected, okay? But when we're with an abuser, oh my God, we better be perfect. Oh my God, we'd better have the right answer. Oh my God, we'd better. Do you see where I'm going with that? And so we quickly learn that it's not okay to be wrong, because for the narcissist, it's not okay for them to be wrong. Does this sound familiar? So yeah, narcissists can't stand it. Again, interfering in a child's natural development. Children learn from falling down. They learn from mistakes. That's how we all learn. But a narcissist interferes in that and shames them for falling down or shames them for making a mistake. And then the kid quickly learns, oh, I better not make another mistake. I better not, you know, and then the thoughts up here start getting nastier and nastier and nastier. And then the desire to not be alone gets stronger and stronger and stronger, so that there is a distraction, so that you're not dealing with all of this. So dependent personality disorder really sets us up for codependency. It sets us up to be low self-esteem. Absolutely, it is driven by low self-esteem, and it makes us, what's the word I'm looking for? It really does take our power away, because we hand our power off to other people going, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Well, tell me what I should do. Tell me what I should do. You know, that kind of thing. Dependent people come off as very clingy, and it's, again, it's not because of, like, say, for example, borderlines can be very clingy. But this is because they want somebody to love them. Borderlines want somebody to love them. But it's not like a manipulative thing. It's more of a I need reassurance thing, if that makes any sort of sense. So anyway, that, hi guys, that is, hi Lucky, are you, thank you. That is what I know about codependent personality disorder. So it is not one of the cluster Bs. I think it's one of the cluster Cs. So it is in with the avoidant personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, all of that good stuff. So yeah, so really the way to work on getting rid of dependent personality disorder is to work on your self-esteem. First of all, get with a good trauma therapist, because a lot of these personality disorders, except for narcissism, are rooted in antisocial, are rooted in abuse. They're rooted in trauma. Something happened. Somebody abused or made wrong or put down or controlled or manipulated to the point where the child no longer felt capable or able to make a decision or confident making a decision. So get with a good trauma therapist. Now, somebody had asked me on modalities for this. I would say EMDR, CBT, and usually EMDR in conjunction with CBT would be the best, because now you've got the talk therapy going plus the EMDR. I would also suggest I would also suggest EFT. That's the emotional freedom technique. That's the tapping. So, but you're gonna have to confront the childhood stuff. Yeah, not just trauma informed, absolutely 110%. You do not want a therapist that's trauma informed. You need a therapist that knows their a-hole from a hole in the ground. They need to know trauma inside and out, you know? And also with an EMDR therapist and with any modality, please, please, please interview your therapist before you go in to see them and look at the reviews. Because here's the thing, a lot of dicey, not really ethical therapists will say, oh, I know EMDR, and it turns out they had a weekend seminar in it. No, you don't know EMDR. It would need to be a long-term program where you've really worked on that. That's your focus. So also that you want to watch out for therapists that have multiple modalities. Now, do I do eclectic when I need to? You bet. I know enough about the eclectic stuff. So like, say for example, I had this one client that was absolutely having an existential crisis, and CBT was not working. So we went into existentialism, and that worked for him. And so that's what I did with him. But that's not my forte. That's not what I'm super, super, super good at. What I'm super, super, super good at is CBT. So you don't want somebody who's got like, oh, I do EFT and EMDR and CBT and this, that, and the other thing and blah, 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 blah. No, you know, it's good to have knowledge of all of those, but what's your focus? What is the one you're really good at? So make sure that they're not just, that they don't just have a certificate, that they actually, that's their main training. And that goes for basically any modality. So DBT, same thing. Um, so, all right, where was I? Saying something, modalities, trauma therapy. So it's going to be a challenge working through the trauma, because part of all of the pretzels that people with dependent personality disorder put themselves through is to avoid dealing with the thoughts that are mean and nasty and vicious. So the other thing you're going to want to do is get CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Why? I know I keep harping on this, but here's the reason why. You're going to want to put back onto the abuser all the shame, all the blame, all the anger, all the guilt, all the you can't do it, etc., etc., etc. And I'm not kidding you. It really does help in the healing process. So what you're going to do is you're going to write a letter to your abuser or to your family of origin or teacher, professor, I don't know, whoever told you you couldn't do it. Whoever said, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. So what you're going to do is you're going to write them a letter, and you're basically going to go, dear whoever, here's the truth. I do know what I'm doing. Thanks for playing. Go pound sand, etc., etc., etc. And you're going to take your power back, and you're going to tell them you don't believe them. I don't believe you anymore. You lied. You lied to me. You lied to me about who I am. You lied to me about what I can do. And guess what? I now trust my gut. I know what I am doing. I know who I am, and you don't get to tell me who I am. You just don't. So you're going to do that. You're going to tell them to go pound sand with both barrels, and then you're going to take it out to the barbecue, or you're going to bring it into your therapist, whatever you want to do. So you could take it to your therapist and you could read it out loud and have the therapist help you go through it, or you can take it out to the barbecue, you can read it out loud once and then burn it and let it go. You know what I'm saying? So there that is. So that will help with the dependency, and it's taking your power back. That's really important. So the other thing too is, and that's why I'm saying CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving is so important, because it helps you work on all of that stuff. And I know that people are always like, oh, I don't want to write a letter, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to deal with it. Well, here's the deal. You're either going to deal with it consciously, which is painful, yeah, to be sure, or you're going to end up dealing with it unconsciously, which is even more painful, because you're acting out and you're doing behaviors that you don't understand, and you're going to be self-sabotaging, and you're going to be hurting yourself and the people who love you. So it's best to do it consciously. It's best to take your power back consciously and just be like, nope, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to work on myself, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, those are the two things that I can think of to help with the dependent personality disorder. Doing the mirror work is hugely important. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? It's okay for you to make decisions. Baby steps. Because I can guarantee you, as soon as you say it's okay for me to make decisions, that little one inside of you is going to have a fit. The little one inside of you is just suddenly going to go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. You know, yeah, you can do this. So you basically are going to challenge those mistaken thoughts and those mistaken beliefs, and you're going to give yourself permission to make decisions. Give yourself permission to not ask 20 million people if you're doing the right thing. So, so that is hugely important. So it's a multi-pronged, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a multi-pronged approach. It's like, you've got to work on the thoughts and the belief. You've got to work on the emotions. You've got to work on the inner child. Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor. How old were you, and this is important, when your caregiver started shaming you for whatever decisions you made? How old were you? Because that's how old you are as an adult. So the inner child running the show, when you find yourself being clingy, when you find yourself not being able to make a decision, when you're terrified of making a decision, when you're looking for comfort, when you're choosing to not be by yourself and basically jumping right back into another relationship, that's how old you are. So that little one, instead of being punished and made wrong, really needs to be loved and talked to and comforted and told that it's okay. And guess what? They don't need a relationship. They need a relationship with themselves, and to start working on self-love, self-approval, self-validation. self-acknowledgement. I see you. I hear you. I believe you. And you know what you're doing. And it's okay for you to make a decision. It's okay for you to be alone for a little while. A little while. So if you'll notice, when people who are abused get out of a relationship, they want to dive right back into another relationship because the inner child is the one running the show that's being dependent, that's saying, oh, this alone is going to last forever. That's really young. That's a really young age to be thinking at. Does that make sense? Because little ones don't have the concept of time. Time to them is like forever, right? As you get older, you know, your concept of time changes, but to a little one, it's like, oh, it's going to be forever. It's going to be forever. And so then they grasp on to whoever this happens to be around them. And usually, unfortunately, it's usually another abuser. Why? Because their picker is broken and they haven't done the work. You got to do the work. If you've got dependent personality disorder, avoidant personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. That is the only thing that is going to get you from point A to point Z where you want to be. So that is super important. Okay, what else can I tell you guys about dependent personality disorder? They're kind of difficult to be around because they are so clingy and in need of validation all the time, which sounds like narcissism with the needing validation all the time, but it's different. Again, the motivation is completely different. The narcissist is looking for an ego hit. The person with dependent personality disorder is simply looking to be validated, period. That's it. There's no other intent there. So again, it's all in what is the intent? What is the intent? What is the intention of this? So, okay, I think that's it. Shall we hit the questions, John?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to scroll back through
Oh, John's gonna have to scroll back through to get the questions. So we may have to move here pretty soon. It looks like I said we've got a baseball team coming in. So, okay, hang on. We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm a new mom,
I'm a new mom,
less than a week old.
less than a week old.
I'm really confused how my mother treated me so poorly. I'm really angry and the trauma is hitting like it's brand new. What do I do?
Ooh, okay. So you're really confused about why your mom treated you so poorly. You're really angry and you need to know what to do. All right. So when we have kids, it triggers us for when we were kids. And it brings up all of the trauma from that point in time. I strongly suggest that you get a good trauma therapist. So when our caregiver treats us poorly, it's confusing. It is, because we're constantly told by society, we're constantly told by, you know, friends and family, oh, but they're your mother. Oh, well, but no, they'll come through. Oh, well, no, they'll take care of you, and then they don't. And so it's that cognitive dissonance. It's kind of like, well, they're supposed to be loving and kind and caring, and they weren't, and they continue to not be, so what the heck? So it's bringing up all of the trauma you went through as a kid. Every single time a client of mine has their child go hit an age that where they were abused, boy, it triggers them like nobody's business. So it's a really good idea to get with a good trauma therapist, journal, write it out. So it's going to be a write and burn. If your mom is still in your life and is still abusive, take a look at going no contact. Being angry, again, you're going through all sorts of hormones too. And something to watch out for is postpartum. So, and that is something to keep an eye on. So it's a week, you know, the hormones are up and down. Your emotions are going to be up and down. That's kind of normal. But if it's specific to your mom wasn't nice to you, there was abuse going on, and you're getting triggered, then yeah, you want to seek out a trauma therapist to work on that. Not trauma informed, trauma knows what they're doing therapist. So yeah, for sure. Okay.
Okay. Does a narcissist make herself dependent on others on purpose for her own advantage, and then later is truly dependent as they forget how to do life by themselves?
Yes, it is absolutely 100% on purpose. 110%, 110%. And they don't forget how to do it for themselves. They don't. They know what to do. This is all a game. This is a game. They deserve an Academy Award winning statue because it's all a game. So yes, they absolutely, it's a power and control issue. So when a narcissist does the dependent stuff, it's the learned helplessness, okay? And they sometimes pass that on to their kids. And sometimes people with dependent personality disorder also have learned helplessness. The good news here is if it's learned, it can be unlearned and it can be replaced with healthier behavior. So learned helplessness is, I can't. You'll have to think for me. I don't know what I'm doing. Bull tinky. They know exactly what to do. They know how to do all this stuff. They do. They absolutely do. They get off on the power play of making people do it for them. They do. And then as they get older, as they turn into collapsed narcissists, like I said, they're the ones in the nursing home snapping their fingers at the staff and demanding that they service them and, you know, pay attention to them and this, that, and the other, because I can't do it myself. Well, yeah, you could. And in fact, the more stuff you do for yourself as you age, the better off you're going to be. But narcissists, you know what's funny? Narcissists never do that. What they do is they will sit on that couch, they will sit in that reclining chair or whatever it is, and they will literally start rotting. And they'll do whatever. So yeah, it's absolutely, they want people to wait on them hand and foot. My grandmother on my mother's side was an absolute narcissist. Are you kidding me? And she was perfectly capable of taking care of herself. Hi there, big dog. Look at the pretty dogs. Hi babies. Hi babies. Look at you. You're pretty. So she absolutely was capable of taking care of herself. She chose not to. And, you know, and her body started deteriorating because she wasn't exercising, she wasn't walking, she wasn't taking care of herself, she wasn't doing anything intellectual, she wasn't, you know, stimulating her mind, she just wanted to be felt sorry for. Oops, you got a leaf on you. Hold on, buddy. Let me get that leaf off of you. There we go. So, thank you. So yeah, they absolutely do it. But do they know how to take care of them? Yeah. If the rubber met the road, right? I think that's the right term. Sometimes I say these terms and I'm like, did I say the right one or did I mix two together? Anyway, if it really came down to it, if it came down to brass tacks, they would know what to do to take care of themselves. They're acting. Absolutely. Okay, next question. John was busy petting the pups. Okay.
Do narcissists lie about their experiences and past? Like they might say that they were abused in order to justify their behavior.
Oh God, yes.
And do they even know their own behavior?
Okay. Narcissists absolutely lie about their past. How many times have we heard about, especially politicians, lying about military service, pretending to be heroes, etc., etc., etc.? Yeah, they absolutely lie about their past. So they will lie about being abused in order to get you to open up. That's something to watch out for. So generally, healthy people don't talk about abuse in the first date. Narcissists, on the other hand, are, you know, oh, well, you know, I was abused as a kid and this, that, and the other thing, hoping that you're going to open up and tell them about your abuse so that they can just store that stuff away and then use it at a later date. So that is what they do. What was the other part of that question? Yes, they lie. Yes, they believe it. Do they even know their own behavior? On some level, yes. But you have to understand the pathology going on, especially with a dark triad, okay? Which is psychopath, narcissist, Machiavellian. The pathology there is they are so delusional that they truly, truly believe their own lies. You can watch it. We talked about this. You know, kind of cross over their face when they're confronted with the truth. So yeah, you want to, they on some level they know they're lying, but they're convincing themselves. And that's why they repeat their lies so often, because the more you repeat something, the more your subconscious mind is going to believe it, and the more your flying monkeys are going to believe it too. So there's a purpose for everything they do. Absolutely 110%. Do they know they're lying? Yeah, on some level. 110%. You can watch it. you can see them kind of be like, yeah, can I get away with this? Yeah, I can. You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, absolutely. They do know on some level. Next.
Okay. How do you deal with people that want to bring up bad things that happen?
Oh, you tell them, I'm not interested. This is, okay, this is where no comes into play. No is your friend. No is a powerful word. No is a protection word. It is a word of boundary. It is a wall of no, you know? And no is a complete sentence. So when you tell somebody no, you offer them no explanation. No, I'm not interested in talking about that. No, I'm not going to tell you about that. No, this is not on the table for discussion. Thank you. So something I do when somebody who's particularly heinous, you know, asks me something that they really have no right to, and I'm not interested in sharing, and I'm not interested in giving them an explanation, because that's what abusers want you to do. They want to get you on the ropes so that you give them an explanation, so that they make you feel less than. That's what that whole needing an explanation is. So when somebody does that to me and I don't really like them or care about them or give a damn if they're never going to see them again and they're evil, then I will say something like, wow, thank you for asking. And that's it. I never say another word. And they either get really uncomfortable and, well, but what, no is a complete sentence. We're not talking about this, period. And if they continue, you walk away. So it's boundaries. It's boundaries. The disease to please, Harriet Breaker, great for codependency stuff. Boundaries. You want to be able to say no and not feel guilty about it. So abusers will try to make you feel guilty for saying no. Never, ever on this or any other planet feel guilty for saying no. It is your right. You have the right to say no. No, I don't want to talk about that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to gossip. No, I'm not going to be your flying monkey. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, no is a complete sentence. All right, next question.
Let's see. I apologize all the time for literally everything.
I apologize all the time for literally everything.
How do I stop doing that?
Okay, self-esteem workbook. So when John and I first started dating, I would run into mannequins and apologize to the mannequin for running into them. Seriously, show me somebody who has survived abuse from a family of origin. I will show you somebody who over apologizes. And the reason is because even when we weren't in the wrong, we had to say I'm sorry to our abuser. I can't tell you the number of times my mom made me apologize to my dad. If I could throw a middle finger right now, I totally would. Because I had nothing to apologize for. I had an emotion, you didn't like it, guess what? Too bad. So, but he was like, you know, you can't be mad at me. That's what abusers do. Good parents know that their kids sometimes get angry with them. Absolutely. Bad parents view it as defying authority. You're being, what's the word I'm looking for? Obstinate, you're being stubborn, you're defying me, you're this, you're that, instead of, oh, you're a little kid having big emotions. Little kids have big emotions and they're not always going to be happy, happy, joy, joy. They're just not. So yeah, abusers absolutely will not allow their kids to have emotions, and they will absolutely try to control them. And what was the question? I'm sorry, I lost it again.
I apologize for everything.
Apologizing. So you're apologizing constantly for having an emotion, for being a regular kid, for you know, you're always apologizing for everything, for existing. God, I mean that, yeah, abusers make their kids feel like they need to apologize for their existence, you know? So like with what my dad did is he always made us responsible for him not retiring. Oh, it's your fault I can't retire. It's your fault that this is happening. It's your fault I'm unhappy. And it took me until I was in my teens to realize, no, you're the ones who's making all these choices. You're the one who is miserable. You're the one who nobody likes. Gosh, who's the problem here? None of your kids. Must be you. You see where I'm going with that? So yeah, we do end up apologizing. So work on self-esteem. The self-esteem workbook, Glenn Schiraldi. Absolutely. Get your self-esteem up to where it needs to be. You do not need to apologize for existing. You don't. You don't need to apologize for existing. And so many of us who came out of abusive families of origin feel that need to apologize all the time. You don't. You don't need to apologize for existing. Mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to exist. I give you permission to be. I give you permission to be happy. I give you permission to have emotions. I give you permission, period. Do you see where I'm going with that? So work on the self-esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Work on the mirror work. You have a right to have your own emotions. Notice what you're apologizing for. Who are you apologizing to? What is driving it? What's the thought? So for me, it was when I bumped into the mannequin and I said, I'm sorry, I went, what the frick is that? You know, and then it's also good to have friends point it out. It's like, hey, you're apologizing again. You don't need to. So that kind of helps too. Validate that, hey, I don't need to apologize for everything. The only time you need to apologize is if you have harmed somebody and you need to make amends. That's really the only time you need to apologize. You know, it's other than that, no. So there's that. Okay.
I'm not sure if this is a question or not. Somebody put, did you heal your attachment style from childhood? If so, how did you move to more secure?
Okay, so moving to more secure. This is a question. So, did I heal my attachment style from childhood? Yes. How did I move to more secure? A, I went to therapy. Seriously. I went to therapy. I went to Ruth Hornaday in Chico when I was a teenager. I went to Fabian Smith up in Portland when I was an adult. I've continued my therapy on in Phoenix. And I worked on the self-esteem and I did mirror work and I wrote and burned letters like nobody's business. So, and you start surrounding yourself with healthier people. Hold on a second. You start surrounding yourself with healthier people. The healthier the people you surround yourself with, the ones that have the secure attachment, the more their behavior rubs off on you. So it really is a truth that you must be careful who you allow in your life. Because if you've got people around you that are all abusers or low self-esteem and they don't like themselves and they're always apologizing for themselves and they're always harming themselves and they're always, you know, drama and this, that, and the other thing, it's going to be very difficult for you to heal. So you want to surround yourself with people who've got a good attachment, who like themselves, who are also dedicated to working on self-esteem, who are also dedicated on improving themselves, bettering themselves, etc., etc., etc. So that is how you heal that attachment, is you work on your own self-esteem and you surround yourself with friends and if you have family who have got good self-esteem. Absolutely. And that helps with the security. So security is not just being with somebody, it's being with yourself. And it's recognizing that those of us who are abused by toxic family members really truly got abandoned. We truly, truly were abandoned in every way, shape, and form. You know, it's like either through the abuse itself, through the neglect itself, or through the other parent enabling the abuser. Like, for example, when my mom insisted that dog coming, John, my mom insisting that I apologize to my dad for having a natural emotion, for being mad at him because he was abusive. Go figure. So, yeah, so it's really important to work on self-esteem. Okay, that's it. Okay, kiddos, we are going to call it good for today. So you guys have a great week. I will be doing a show next week. There are still tickets available on chrisgodinas.com for the July 2nd meet and greet in Portland. I don't know what that show is that I'm doing on that Sunday. I'm going to have to go look. So I will also do the questions on Wednesday. So, and then I'll let you know what the show is. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.